Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Alumni Talks, where IAB catches up with alumni to discuss life after graduation. We are delighted to have our first guest today, who is currently starring as Natalie in the new and immersive production of Next to Normal in Barcelona, alongside Tony Award winner Alice Ripley. Please welcome 2021 graduate Jade Lauren.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the show. I was fortunate enough to catch the first preview, and it's an amazing show, which we'll discuss later on today, but congratulations and all the best for the future of the run.
Thank you, Nick.
In order for our audiences to get to know you better, here are a few quick questions. So, first question, where are you from?
London.
London?
Yes.
Fantastic. Your biggest inspiration growing up?
I loved Whitney Houston growing up. Played a lot of her music in the car with my mum, so...
Solid answer. Whitney. Yes,
Whitney,
love that.
Love.
Your favourite musical?
At the moment, Rent.
Rent.
Yeah.
Your dream role?
Anyone in Hadestown, maybe?
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you reading or have you read recently?
Currently I'm reading The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, which is like a collection of horror, like dark novel, dark short stories.
Great. And is there anything that you're watching at the moment?
Well, I just binged Heartstopper, which was very warm, like a hug in a show.
That's great.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's a very good show. And is there any live performance that's inspired you recently?
Yes. I saw, before I came here, I saw Wuthering Heights at the National. And I believe the actor's name is Katie Owen, who played Isabella. Yeah, they were incredible, just their physicality and their ability to do comedy was, like, I really loved. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
And do you have a favourite MT composer?
Maybe not one. I mean, I loved West Side Story growing up. The music in West Side Story is incredible, and I love Jonathan Larson. I mean, I love rap. So.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, that's the end of the quick questions. Thank you so much.
A lot of pressure.
You got through it. Let's move on to Next to Normal.
Okay.
So you're currently in the world premiere of this new and immersive production of Next to Normal, which is amazing. For those that don't know the show, can you describe a little bit more about what Next to Normal is about and what's unique about this particular production?
Yeah, so Next to Normal is about what looks like a functioning, like, suburban family in Seattle. And our version focuses in on the mother, Diana, and her journey basically suffering with mental illness. And I'm playing Natalie, and so I have sort of like the responsibility of representing sort of daughters who, like, unfortunately don't have parents who are necessarily all in, just because they're struggling with their own things. So our version is a little bit different just because we've cut it down, and we're really focusing on Diana as the main character.
Which is great. Yeah. And because of that immersive nature of the production, what has the process been like for you? Because I guess as a musical theatre performer, you're used to the traditional format of rehearsals and production with band, performers, crew, but this also adds that digital element. How has that process been for you?
Yeah, it's been a bit different. Tech was definitely a lot more of a process than, or just a different process than it would have been in a traditional musical. But honestly, it feels incredible being surrounded by all these visuals. It's really provocative for you as the actor to be able to work with, and the team behind it, The Silence, the visual designers, are so talented, and so they've done such an amazing job at just bringing the show to life. You know?
It's quite incredible. Yeah. And throughout the process, were those images and footage given to you to help inspire you as part of the scene, or was that something that was added later on?
It was. We sort of got a little preview, so on some of the bigger numbers we were able to see some of the initial ideas, but then, like, most of, like, the bigger chunk of it we didn't see until maybe 2-3 weeks into the rehearsal process, but our director was quite keen for the show to be, like, if we didn't have the visuals, for it to just be a really good play, like, in itself. And the visuals are like our extra actor, you know, and they just really add so much more, and like, you know, we have a strong foundation, and then like the visuals just make it fly, you know. So.
And with the, I guess, the immersive nature of it, the audience is literally on the stage with you, and you're moving amongst the audience. How was that? I mean, as opposed to a situation like this where there's the stage and the audience in front of you, the audience is completely around you. Were you encouraged to engage with them, or was that discussed during the rehearsal process?
Yeah, it was. We are encouraged to sort of, we have little soliloquy moments, as we call them, throughout the show, where we are really encouraged to direct it to the audience, which is really nice. I love intimate settings like this for theatre. I've like done a little bit of work with it before, and I always find that that's where I feel actually the most comfortable. But it is extremely exposing. Yeah. But it's good.
That's great. And you found that the audiences are receptive to that intimate nature of the
so far, yeah. I mean, we've only done our week of previews, but so far it seems that, I mean, it's such a provocative show, and you know, I think people can. Not everyone's going to be in there being like, wow, yay, I love being here. I think it's going to create, just with the themes we talk about, discomfort, or just, you know, an array of emotions, but I think that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Great. Next question. You are performing alongside some incredible performers, two of which are Broadway icons. As mentioned before, Tony Award winner Alice Ripley, who originated the role of Diana in the production, and then Andy Signota Jr., who's not only a performer on Broadway but has directed. How has that process been, working with these people who've been in the industry for quite a while as a recent graduate?
I mean, obviously coming into it can feel a little bit intimidating, but our director has done such an incredible job at creating just such a nice space, a creative space, a collaborative space where all ideas are welcome and equal, and it's just I mean, when you're in a room like of creative people, I think I'd always want to be the least experienced or the least knowledgeable in a way, because then you can only learn.
Yeah,
you know,
for
so
sure.
That's been great.
It's amazing. Great. The production itself has been reduced to 60 minutes, around 60 minutes from the original production. For you, we discussed before that you had no sort of prior knowledge of the full show, or you hadn't seen it. How has that been, condensing the role and the arc of Natalie into that sort of 60-minute time frame?
It is hard. I do find it a little bit difficult to, just as an actor, to keep her track, you know, true and consistent.
For sure.
But it's also been a welcomed challenge. And if anything, the cuts that we've made to the show have just given me more scope to make my own newer choices as a new actor playing the role. So that's
great.
That's nice, yeah.
And given the content we've discussed briefly, the content of this show, I mean, it deals with mental health, suicide, some quite dark material. Do you have any pre-show or post-show rituals that you run each day before shows or after shows, as I said, to help you step in and out of that role?
Well, I have sort of like a little notes page that I just like to sort of go over, and I just like to mark the moment where I'm like Jade, and then where I'm about to go on stage and I'm like Natalie now. She wears like a green shirt in the show, so I generally just try to connect with this like item, and then like read over the notes page of just her sort of internal monologue that she might have at that moment in the show. And then afterwards coming off and just making sure you're sort of disconnecting and de-rolling in a way, and just throughout the process remembering that because the topics are so sensitive, you do have like a responsibility. Well, I've felt like a huge responsibility to just be as authentic as possible with the role, and our director Simon Pittman did a really good job at like enforcing that throughout the rehearsal process.
And that was really evident in the show, which is great. Coming back to your training, you started in the foundation course at the IB and then moved to the BA. What do you think the most valuable tools were that you received during your training to help you as a graduate?
I mean, I really did just learn so much here. I didn't think I knew anything about the musical theatre industry before I came, hence why I did the foundation first, because I was like, I just want to see what it's like. I think the biggest thing you learn at drama school is like collaboration. Well, in my experience, just being able to work with like a large group of people, being able to collaborate on the shows that we do, I think is like an important skill to have. And obviously I learnt a lot of technical stuff here that I still carry with me. I still do, warm-ups that I did here, and all the like one-to-one singing lessons I've had here. It's still all knowledge that I find very valuable now.
Amazing. And I guess your particular cohort, you did a lot of devised work, and you were very interested in creating your own works. One of those productions that you actually did in your last year. Do you think that's led you to be drawn to more collaborative productions and works post IB?
Probably. Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, this production in particular has felt, well, just quite collaborative in the rehearsal room, or just, well, everyone's ideas are welcome, kind of thing. But I had a lot of opportunities at IAB to express like my own creativity with the responsibilities I was given in shows. It was really nice to be able to like have an opinion on like some of the design elements in some of the shows we did, and I think these responsibilities I actually learnt through them, and I've taken away stuff from that too.
Great. As a recent graduate, what has been something that has surprised you about the industry?
Well, not how small it is, but just I think maybe everyone says it, but I think connections just is quite like important. Sure. It being like that some of the work I've gotten recently is because of work I've done before. So it just feels smaller than
you expected.
Than I expected.
Yeah, for sure.
It's comforting in a way though, knowing that like
that's still quite an intimate family.
Yeah, and you can make friends on your way, I guess.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And aside from Next Normal, what else have you been involved in since you graduated?
So I graduated and then I did Ordinary Days here in Sitges. And then when I went back to London, I worked on a short film for a little bit, directed by Sophia Cargom for the Fieri Consort, which was a really nice experience. And then I went, throughout Christmas, I did a run of a children's show, which was great. It was Cinderella. Sorry, I'm not expanding. It was a children's show, Cinderella, and alongside the show it was sort of shown to a lot of schools, and alongside it they did a lot of workshops, because they essentially wanted to prove that talking about sort of themes of race and body image to children of such a young age is very proactive and very beneficial. So that was a great thing to be a part of. And then out of that, I was part of the revival of elegies for Angels, Punks and Raging Queens, which was, I'm so grateful for that opportunity, because Bill Russell came to direct it, and just to be in that space at the King's Head Theatre where it was originally, put on, and the energy in the room was just amazing. So I'm super grateful for that opportunity.
Fantastic. I mean, it's an incredible piece of theatre in itself. So that's fantastic. So what is one piece of advice that you think you would give someone who is looking to train in the arts or musical theatre? Like,
don't get down if you're not progressing in the way you want or something. Like, so much of it is luck and opportunity and being in the right place at the right time, sort of no matter how talented you are, like you do just have to have that opportunity there, and it's luck, in some cases. So have resilience, just because you get a no, like that's absolutely fine. And also, if you can't go to like an audition or something, don't beat yourself up either, because I got into a bit of a habit of, oh no, I can't go to the audition because I have to work, you know, or something. Like it's such a hard balance, and don't beat yourself up over that balance, because, you know, we're in the same boat. We can't, unfortunately, we can't just like go to auditions for a living, because we have to.
We have to work as well.
We have to work as well.
Yeah, great advice. And so, if people haven't seen you perform, where can they catch you performing, whether here or in the future?
So you can see me in Next to Normal if you're in Spain. We're running until August, the beginning of August. And then after that, I'll be joining Let Me In Presents for a production of Once the Musical. So that's going to be in Lichfield in the Midlands in the UK. So I'll be doing that. I think that is running until mid-September, I believe. I can't remember. But, yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our first Alumni Talks.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jade.
Thank you.